In a recent podcast appearance, Jamie Lee Curtis addressed the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And to my surprise, her response was not taking jabs at Charlie Kirk or his supporters. She said that they disagreed on almost everything. However, she hopes that in his final moments, being that he is a man of faith, he felt connected to his faith, connected to God. And she also was like choking up when she said this, almost breaking down into tears on this podcast appearance. So let's play the clip of that.
Yes, here we go.
Charlie Crist was killed 2 days ago.
Charlie.
I'm sorry.
Kirk. Right?
Kirk. I just call him Crist. I think because of Christ, because of his deep belief. I mean, I disagreed with him on almost every point I ever heard him say.
Yeah.
But I believe he was a man of faith. And I hope in that moment when he died that he felt connected to his faith, even though I find his ideas were abhorrent to me.
Yeah.
I still believe he's a father and a husband and a man of faith, and I hope whatever connection to God means that he felt it. Yesterday was 9/11. I know there is video of his assassination. I know people who've seen it. Yesterday, we watched again these images of those buildings coming down. We as a society are bombarded with imagery. So we don't know what the longitudinal effects of seeing those towers come down over and over and over and over again, or watching his execution over and over and over again. We watched the Zapruder film, by the way, my birthday, November 22nd. I'm associated with this awful day of someone being assassinated on television. But it's, as you know, the Zapruder film is the only visual document that moves, that shares that horror of what happened. But here we have now these images.
All the time, every day.
And we are inured to them and we are numb to them, but they are in there. We don't know. We don't know enough psychologically about what that does. What does that do? That kind of, I don't ever want to see this footage of this man being shot.
I didn't watch it. I think it diminishes the depth of humanity.
Okay.
She was also talking about the desensitization to violence that we are exposed to on social media. Here were a few of the responses from Twitter. Why is it that every time somebody dies, folks act like they were a good person when they were straight up garbage? Another one said, if Hitler said he was a man of God despite the things he's done, y'all would still feel sorry for him. Another one said, all this tells me is that she has abhorrent ideas or clearly never listened to a single thing he said.
But she said she disagreed with him.
They're saying, well, if you said you disagreed with him on almost everything, I would love to know what you agreed with Charlie Kirk about. That must mean you're just like him. You're a crypto conservative. And it's just completely detached from reality, because Jamie Lee Curtis is as leftist and out of touch as they come in Hollywood. She has a trans-identifying son who has taken on a female name and dresses up. I mean, look up pictures of this guy. It's exactly what you would expect. And clearly her sympathies lie with those groups, not with Charlie Kirk and those supporters of his. And she still has just the shred of humanity left to say that he didn't deserve what happened to him and that she didn't want to watch the footage of what happened to him because it's horrifying.
Yeah.
I think that might be because of her generation, like the fact that she's older and hasn't had social media for
Her whole
the
life,
majority
yeah.
the majority of her adult life. Hasn't been born and bred in that environment where most of these people celebrating Charlie Kirk's death come from. She's at least detached from that world, and I wouldn't have expected her to comment on it in general, but even if she did, I wouldn't have expected to hear that from her.
Yeah.
That level of like emotion and sentiment from her specifically.
I don't buy any of it from actors anymore, I guess. It's just...
Do you think that it was disingenuous?
I don't know. I think that the truth lies somewhere in the middle, between maybe not disingenuous, but I don't know. If I was to be the most charitable that I could be, given that she did, preface everything by saying, as they all keep saying, I disagreed with almost everything he said, but is that she is a mom, and perhaps the humanity there for her is not so closely tied to the politics, but to the fact that he was a father and a dad, that he was a dad and a husband,
Yeah.
and she can differentiate the two. And the conservatives do keep pointing out that everybody keeps prefacing these statements, but I think that that's a position that's unique to people that are in the political sphere, where all you're hearing is the preface, whereas the people who don't exist solely in the political sphere are prefacing their statements because they want to show you that they too can see the horrors of it, even though when you hear it over and over and over again, you're like, but why do you need to preface this at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't think it's particularly useful to give this, this very, sad, express a lot of sadness when you combine that with, but I think he was abhorrent.
The preface is done to protect them from their own side,
Right?
From the people who are from the people you're talking
So
about
it's
here, who
not
are going to say, well, what are the things you do agree with him on?
So that's why I'm like, if you think political violence is wrong, you should just say that instead of like saying, guys, he didn't deserve to be killed for those beliefs, even though they were abhorrent. It's like, well, that's not a full condemnation. Then it's just it's a half-baked condemnation. It's just not useful.
The person who said like, well, if Hitler did this, I'm like, well, okay, so Hitler was a dude who killed millions of people, and this is a dude who talked to thousands of people. Like, these aren't the same thing, but it doesn't matter to them. Yeah. It doesn't matter that those don't correlate at all.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, just either condemn it or don't. Like, it's not
right.
It's not useful to like, okay, condemn the action but justify the motive for the action. It's like,
yeah,
well, that's like if someone killed their wife, you're like, even though she was really mad to him, like, I don't like, you shouldn't have killed him. It's like,
this is why I pulled up that. Or I should have pulled up that tweet that I wrote last night. What about this? So there was an episode called Dead Air of NCIS that I was watching last night. It might be the gold standard, as I said, for talking about politics on TV, which is that it's a group of it's like suburban moms and dads who are trying to build a bomb to draw attention to the fact that our government is spending billions of dollars overseas in foreign countries when there is murder, there is crime, there is homelessness, there is problems with our education system, all going on here at home. And in this episode, the whole point is that they never talk about whether their ideas are stupid. They just talk about how murder is wrong and terrorism is bad. And they don't, the writers back in, I guess this would have been like 2010, had enough distance from the material, because not everybody was so focused on politics, to write about the story without turning the main characters into mouthpieces for their ideas. Meaning that if that was made in today's day and age, if they were writing a story now about Charlie Kirk on television, they would make that main character say something like, well, his ideas were abhorrent, but he didn't deserve to die. Okay? Back then, before everybody was so political brained, they were able to keep enough distance from the material, because it didn't run their lives, to understand the idea, to treat the audience with enough respect that we know that murder and terrorism are bad, but bringing up ideas that you disagree with doesn't mean that those ideas need to be condemned. Okay? And all I'm saying now is that that's gone. Those days are gone. We will never see like the Law and Order version of this story, which will get made, I'm sure, because Law and Order does something for all types of things like this, where, whatever main character it is will have to be like, well, the things he said were disgusting, but that doesn't give you the right to do what you did.
Right.
She's basically saying the things that he said warranted death, but we shouldn't have executed him. It's like, Okay, that's just not. It's just like I said. It's just not useful. It's just disingenuous.
Even if all of the things that people are saying he said were true, even if like there are comments here saying like, he said slavery was a good thing,
Right.
even if that were true, still wouldn't justify it. Still wouldn't justify it.
Like,
doesn't matter,
because you just have to poke and prod at these people, and they do have a line of what stuff you can say that warrants death. So it's like if you poke and prod at these people, they do justify political violence.
If they can surmise somehow that you privately think something that warrants death without even saying it out loud.
Yeah. Well, that's why we shouldn't have conceded ground with the discourse 5-10 years ago when it was like punch a Nazi. And then you had people on the right kind of tossing this idea back and forth. It's like, no, because they're setting up the trap later down the line where they can start justifying actual political violence, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Because they think everyone to the right of Hillary Clinton's a Nazi. So
I disagree with the people saying that this was a disingenuous display, that she was pretending to get emotional over it. I mean, she's an artist. Of course she's going to get emotional about things. I believe that reaction from her was genuine, but still, I don't like the qualifying statement that all of these people are offering. And Michael Keaton also spoke about Charlie Kirk's assassination recently, calling out the irony in it. He said, before we start to get into the meat of this thing, I'm going to take a minute to say that regardless of how I probably have disagreed with many things he said, Charlie Kirk leaves behind 2 kids and a wife. You got to remember that. But pointed out the irony that he was killed with a gun is unbelievable, given that he was pro 2A. It's like,
that's
again,
insane.
It's just another weasel word that he threw in there, and I can pretend that I still have a shred of humanity left.
Because people on the right
get in my last barb.
Right, people on the right police this type of behavior all the time. Like every once in a while, someone random, like when a Democrat woman, like a woman that's Democrat, gets like beat up by a black guy on the train, and they'll be like, "Well, she voted for this," and then the entire sphere comes down hard on them. They're saying like, "That's ridiculous. That's not how this works." So like we do police our own side whenever that sort of jab is made. I mean, on the left, they have like A-list celebrities saying this kind of stuff, and no one checks it.
I also think that it's like the barrier for irony in this case would be like if somebody has like one issue they care about and that's like their thing, and then something happens. If all he talked about was gun rights, that would be one thing, and even then it's still ghoulish to say. But he had opinions on a range of topics, and 2A just happened to be one of those many opinions. But there's a number of things that you could have an opinion on before it becomes irony, because it's not all he focused on.
Right. Yeah, and he was still against political assassination, so it's not even
exactly.
It's not even ironic. It's just ghoulish, like you said.
Now, someone I did not expect to come out swinging for Charlie Kirk is Jeffree Star. Brett, I just sent you a link to the clip from his recent live stream on TikTok where he was reacting to the assassination. Here's what Jeffree Star said to his followers.
A man who fought for the truth, who went all around our country debating people of all walks of life, walks of religion, walks of sexuality. He debated everybody. And if you're in here saying it wasn't the truth, you are a they, them loser, okay? You are one of those people who doesn't want to live in reality. You want to live in your weird little brain up here. Okay? You are delusional. You are not right in the head. Okay? So any of you weirdos coming in here, Charlie fought for the truth. He debated people all over this country. And he didn't care what you were. He still had a conversation with everybody. Why did I respect him? Because he knows reality. This is a grown man.
Hasn't Jeffree Star been on a Republican arc?
Oh yeah,
recently.
he left LA, sold all the Birkins, started an alpaca farm in Wyoming.
I think we sick Milo on him. He could straighten him out.
Or sorry, not alpacas, yaks.
Yaks.
He's
Right.
farming yaks and selling yak
I
meat.
think Milo could straighten that situation out quite quickly. He's already
a
he's already-
Milo Jeffree Star collab in the future, perhaps.
Yeah, I think Milo's probably has a few tactics that he could deploy.
Yeah. We have a 20 from Kyle Dixon. You'd think Batman would have more respect for gun deaths, ghoulish.
Yeah.
Yeah, real.
He's definitely not someone I expected to speak out on it. But yeah, Jeffree Star is kind of an unexpected ally in these weird times.
I pointed.
I always knew
saw
there was a reason to stand.
Vanessa pointed out, like she mentioned it, or it might have been in like Slack today about this, and I said Jeffree Star, like my exposure to Jeffree Star when I was younger was literally like relegated to like lyrics in Hollywood Undead songs.
Yeah.
And it feels like there was a time when you understood that certain things were a niche subculture and they understood that that was okay. Now, what was once considered a niche subculture has been eliminated and turned into mainstream without distinction. And there's no dividing line anymore. It kind of goes along with the homogenization of all areas of our culture in a lot of ways. Like there are no subculture is kind of a dying idea because everything is just, you just go to TikTok and find the 10 people in the world that agree with you on that one thing. And there you have your subculture. But it used to actually take like a lot of work to enter a subculture. Like there was a barrier to entry before the internet that required you to put in a certain amount of work to join something like that. And Jeffree Star feels like a product of a bygone era.
He is. And it's actually surprising that he's kept relevancy for this long. If you guys didn't know, he was basically like one of the breakout stars of the MySpace era, and he made like underground scene kid music and went to Warped Tour, and he kind of faded out for a while. He got a record deal with Akon, who then crashed out and didn't make good on his promises to Jeffree. No! Jeffree then started this like makeup brand empire, made millions upon millions of dollars while living in Calabasas, and then kind of got sick of the whole influencer culture and stepped back from all of that and started his yak farm in the middle of the countryside in Wyoming. And I would place bets on him having voted for Trump last year. Yeah, I would. Interesting times though, because he was always known for like super offensive jokes, like really dark humor, pushing the boundaries until it was no longer acceptable. He was canceled countless times for things that he said during the MySpace era. And he has come out on the other side and sees that people are finally returning to that time in the culture.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.